Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Larry and Amy's Kitchen. Tonight we have decided that we would like to have a cheesy potato soup for supper. So what I would like to do is show you our recipe on how we make that cheesy potato soup. Everyone's got their own recipe, I am sure. They may add different ingredients than we do. They may add more ingredients than we do, but I'll show you how we make ours. Now the first thing I have done is I have added 1 stick of butter to my pot and I have melted it. Now the recipe that I've got calls for just 2 pounds of russet potatoes. I like to make a big pot, so I am doubling everything so that we either have more than enough for supper with hopefully some left over for tomorrow. So I've got 1 stick of butter in the pot that's melted. I'm going to take my potatoes and dump them into the pot. This is about 4 pounds. Like I said, I'm doubling the recipe. You need 6 tablespoons of flour. This is one of the things that's going to help thicken your soup as you cook it. And we're going to put 1 cup full of onions in our soup. And we're going to add a little salt and pepper. You can always add more later as you're testing it to see when it's done. That was the pepper. We'll just put a little salt in there because this is a lot of potatoes. And we'll see how that turns out. What I'm going to do right now is just kind of mix this up a little bit so we can coat the potatoes the best we can with the butter, with the flour. Mix the onions in with the salt and the pepper. You're not going to get everything coated exactly the same, but just spread it around a little bit. It's all going to cook together anyway on the stove. And there we go. Now, what I'm going to do next is cover this with water. So that right about there. And then I'm going to add, the recipe called for evaporated milk. We didn't have any, so I'm going to add a cup of half and half. You can change things up any which way you want. If you want to vary the recipe a little bit, it's okay because it's yours. Now, what we're going to do is turn this up so that it will come to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, we're going to turn it down to low and let it cook for about 25 to 30 minutes. Stirring probably about every 10 minutes so that all the potatoes and stuff are mixed around and that they get equally cooked. Now, just about the time that we think it's done, I've got 1 pound of cheddar cheese that I have cut up into small chunks. I will add this to the mixture and let it melt along with everything else as the soup begins to thicken towards the end of the cooking process. Now, what we're going to do is, since we can't pause this video, we'll have to start a second one. We're going to go ahead and let this come to a boil. I'm going to continue to stir it after I turn it down. Leave it uncovered, don't put a lid on it. And I will put the cheese in it right before we come back. Get it mixed in real good, and I'll show you what the finished product looks like. So remember, I've got In this particular recipe, 4 pounds of potatoes, 1 cup of onion, 1 stick of butter, 1 cup of evaporated or half and half milk, and I've got a 1 pound block of cheese that I have cut up into small chunks that I'm going to add to it, along with salt and pepper right before it's done. So we'll see you back in a few minutes and we'll see what the finished product looks like.